Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Beasts of the Mesazoic Raptor series Velociraptor Mongoliensis. Now, I talked about this series in my unboxing video, but I'll go over it again here just to explain, in case you missed that video. But anyway, this isn't really a Jurassic Park figure, but this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. Or, this is a figure that I've been wanting for a while, at least like one figure from this series. And what this series is basically a line of highly articulated, scientifically accurate dinosaurs, all created by David Silva, who has worked on a few NECA figures, such as the NECA Godzilla 1954, which is a really good figure as is. Not my favorite NECA figure, but it's definitely probably my third favorite. I still really like this thing. So, yeah. Anyway, this was a thing back in like 2014. This is when it was like just starting out. They had like a build your own raptor line where like the raptors were more like stylistic and like less accurate and more like cartoonish, which I think was fine, but you had to like assemble it yourself and like paint it yourself. But here they actually, you know, like they actually improved, or well, I don't want to say improved, but like they definitely made some changes, and you know, we are now getting figures like this. And really quick, I just want to say I absolutely love this figure. The coloring here, everything about this figure is great for the most part. So yeah, so a lot of care goes into this line, and I absolutely adore that. Right now, they're in the process of just finishing up their Ceratopsian line, and they're just starting to work on their Tyrannosaur line. So yeah, I think a Carnotaurus would be great. If they were to release a Carnotaurus, I would buy that in a heartbeat. It'd probably cost a lot of money, but still. And this figure is definitely not the cheapest either, but I digress. Anyway, before we take a look at the figure itself, let's take a quick look at its accessories. So I'll just move you to the side right there. So first of all, we get a collector's card, which is a very nice touch. I didn't expect this with the figure, but you know, we ended up getting this, and I think that this is very cool. Some beautiful artwork right here. I absolutely, like, a lot of people, I know there are a lot of people who hate the dinosaurs, like, you know, dinosaurs now, and say, like, oh, feathers ruin dinosaurs, or science ruins dinosaurs. And to me, like, I don't mind. I like, you know, feathered dinosaurs. You know, like, the Velociraptor here. I think, you know, stuff like that looks great. Saurian is another good example of like scientific accuracy, because like, you know, the Dakota Raptors in that game, they look great. So yeah, I will admit there are some bird-looking dinosaurs, like, you know, artwork that I'm not gonna lie does look a little stupid, but stuff like this I really appreciate and adore. So yeah. Anyway, in the corner here we have the Beasts of the Mesazoic Raptor series right there. And on the back, we have a picture of the figure, Beasts of the Mesazoic Raptor series, some facts, so if you want to pause and read it now, go ahead. And the artist behind the picture in the front of this card was done by Raul Ramos. So there you go. I'm sorry if I messed up your name there, but still, he made this great piece. So, yeah. And creativebeast.com, as well as some other information there. Alright, so that's it for the card. Now for some more minor accessories. We do have some stands here that, you know, are to support the figure standing. And this is the only way to stand the figure. Well, not this, but, you know, we'll talk about that in a second. But there is a smaller, like, shorter peg, or, like, pole that, like, is about yay high. But I sort of lost that when I was taking pictures one day, so I do apologize for that. So, yeah, it's about that big. Yeah, but you know, you could just use these, you could just like plug that into there, and maybe you could like adjust it to where like the raptor is pouncing on something. So yeah. And now for the base itself, and the base itself looks very nice. So yeah, of course here's the pole, and here's like, you know, another piece you could like attach to help it stand. These are actually 3 separate pieces to help the figure stand. So there's that. And yeah, the painting here looks very nice, very sandy, and I really like how this looks. All the rocks, too. Especially this rock right here, to me, just looks especially good. The sculpting looks great, very dry looking, very arid, and I do like that. And of course, the detailing, once again, looks great. This is a great looking base. I absolutely love this. And on the bottom, we don't have a lot, except in the corner here. We actually do have some spare feet for the Raptor to sort of give it like a running pose. And it's cool how you could just like store them underneath the base, you know. It's cool that they put a little more thought into that, because like there are some, you know, figures out there where they have like alternate pieces but they just go nowhere. But here, like, you know, the extra pieces, you can just like hide them underneath the stand. So I do like that. So yeah, so that's it for the stand. Really nice. And of course a ball joint right here so you can adjust it. And like I said, this is the only means of standing this figure, which is annoying. I understand why, but I still think that it's very annoying. So, yeah. Anyway, enough about the stand and all the accessories. Now for the figure itself. And first, we'll take a look at the painting. And the painting on this figure is really good. So let's take a closer look. Actually, let's just... There we go. So, yeah, the painting on this figure. It's very colorful, but at the same time, it is very ground to earth. I believe they actually based this off of like an actual bird, which I think is really cool. I don't know which one. I'm not the biggest bird expert, but I do know that they do base all of their figures off of existing animals. Like, right now, their Tyrannosaur line, they're basing a lot of their figures off of like different snakes, which I think is really cool. So, yeah. So most of the figure is this blackish color, which does look very nice. And we do have some orange on the wings here and on the side of the body, and even on most of the leg here. We have a bit of white on the back right here. And the feet here are painted black, as well as the hands here. And if we go over to the head, we can see that the eyes are painted a sort of lime green, which looks good. And we do have a little bit of red around the eyes, which also adds to it. Looks very nice. And of course the inside of the mouth. Let me just adjust this figure so you can have a better look. On the inside of the mouth we have more pinks and whatnot, but has a very glossy finish, which does add to it a lot. The teeth are painted a bonish white. They don't look the cleanest, but, you know, the teeth are, you know, pretty small, so it's understandable. For, like, how small the teeth are, I'd say that looks pretty good. And, yeah, on the tail here we have more blacks and more whites and everything. And just all around, yeah, sculpting, or not sculpting, the painting on this figure is great. I'm not going to lie, it might be a little fragile, because right here, right out of the box, this is more my fault, but there was a little bit of paint chipping here, but again, that's mainly because I was trying to get the tail in. So, yeah, and I didn't use a hair blow dryer, I don't know why, so again, I don't know if you can see that, but that's more my fault than anything. But, yeah. Overall, the painting on this figure is really good. A lot of care and attention has been put into this, and I absolutely adore that. So, the painting on this figure definitely gets a pass. Now we'll take a look at the articulation, and the articulation on this figure, again, is really good. So, the mouth can close, like so, and it can open. The neck, or base of the head here, is on a ball joint, as well as the base of the neck. Very limited, but it is there. The shoulders here are on ball joints, and we do have a bend at the elbow and a bend at the wrist, so you can kind of like, what I like to do is to just kind of like do that, something like that, almost like it's like threatening something, so I do like that a lot. We do have another joint right here above the shoulders, but again, very limited. And at the waist here, we do have another ball joint. The legs are on ball joints. There's a bend at the knee here. Another joint right here. Again, like I always say this when I talk about this, I don't know if this is like the ankle or not, because like the ankle is right here, and that can move like so. But like I don't know what like this bit is called, so do forgive me on that. The two toes are on swivels, and of course the sickled claw can move like so. There's a ball joint at the tail, and something that's cool, you can actually take out the tail and like adjust it to where like it's more straight, but you kind of need a hair blow dryer for that, and I don't really want to risk like damaging like the painting on this figure any more than I already did here. So yeah, just know that you can do that. I'm not going to show that off, but you can do that. But again, a ball joint here, and usually when it comes to stuff like this, the tail is on a bendy wire. Normally I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm not really going to be posing this that often, so it's fine. And that could be said for most of my other figures, but still, you know, like bendy wires on the tail. I don't like that because, like, you know, if it breaks inside, you're pretty much done. So, yeah, there's no fixing it after that. Where if it's a joint, like, more movements. And again, I get why. You know, the tail is, I guess, kind of skinny. That and, like, you know, I guess it would kind of, you know, ruin the sculpt. But, again, I would have preferred an articulated tail, but I'm not, you know, it's not the end of the world. So, yeah. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the articulation on this figure. And the articulation on this figure is very good. I like it a lot. It's not SH Monster Arts quality. It's more on the lines of a NECA figure, like 54 here. So, yeah. That's not to say it's bad or anything like that. The articulation here is still very good. So the articulation on this figure definitely gets a pass. Now I'll take a look at the sculpt. And the sculpting on this figure is flawless. I absolutely love this. You know, just very accurate, just very, you know, how the animal would have looked in real life. And again, I just think, like, you know, this just looks great. And I know there are people, I mentioned this already, there are people who say, oh, science ruined dinosaurs because feathers, but honestly, I actually think the idea of, like, a feathered raptor like this, I feel like that's actually kind of cool. Like, you know, just like, these things, raptors, they're, like, about the size of turkeys, large turkeys, but they weren't big, so, like, you know, something like murder turkeys, I feel like is, like, you know, really cool. So, yeah, like, I don't know, like, feathered dinosaurs, like, you know, things like a feathered T-Rex, well, that wasn't a thing. You know, studies have shown that, you know, T-Rex indeed did not have feathers, but people will just still debate on that, but, you know, of course, raptors had feathers and velociraptors did. So, yeah, the sculpting here looks great. One thing I will say, the tiny feet. I get why, you know, and, like, you know, that is accurate and it does look good. So, you know, my only complaint is that, like, this figure cannot stand on its own, which is why you need this base to stand it, which I think is a little annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but honestly, I can forgive that, because on the base, and when it stands, it looks great. So, yeah, the sculpting on this figure is perfect, I'd say. You know, so the sculpting on this figure definitely gets a pass. Now take a look at the detailing, and just like with the rest of this figure, the detailing here is incredible. So let's take a closer look. So the detailing in the head right here looks great. All the cracks and crevices in the snout, very well defined, I like that a lot. All of the feathers along the body look great as well, very well defined. Here they look more like scales, but honestly that's fine. The wings here, again, detailed beautifully, as well as the hands. I can show you real quick, the hands look very good as well. Again, more feathering, everything here looks great, very well defined. You know, the sculpting or detailing and everything looks great, and even the feet, very good. And of course, going to the tail, all of the feathering here, defined very nicely, so yeah. And that's pretty much it for the detailing. So the detailing on this figure, again, looks great. So the detailing on this figure definitely gets a pass. So at the end of the day, should you get this? I'd say yes. This isn't really for kids, so if you're a parent and you want to get them a Raptor figure, don't get them this. This is more for, like, the adult collector. This is one of those things where, like, you pose and then just sit it on a shelf. You don't really play with it. Because, like, I know, like, you know, NECA, like, these aren't really meant for kids either. But, like, you know, these are durable enough for kids. So I get that. But something like this is definitely not for kids. Because there are some bits about this figure that do feel very fragile. Unless your kid is very delicate when it comes to his or her toys. But I really doubt that. So, yeah. If you're a collector, though, definitely, if you love, you know, scientifically accurate dinosaurs, or just dinosaurs in general, then this is definitely for you. I absolutely love this thing. I'd love to get more of their figures. I'd love to get their Ceratopsian figures, and eventually when they release their Tyrannosaur figures, but right now, I don't really have the room, and if they were to make a Carnotaurus, then you better believe I'd get that, but yeah. In terms of pricings, you're looking at about $40, which maybe, like, honestly, it might be a little much, but considering that you're getting this as well as a few other things, it's not the worst thing ever, admittedly. So, yeah, I ordered this off of Amazon, and I paid about $50. Also, I just bumped the camera there, I'm sorry about that. So I paid $50, which I paid a little more than I was supposed to, but, you know, I'm not upset by that whatsoever. This figure is incredible. I absolutely loved it, and I'm glad I made this purchase. So, yeah. They do have a Facebook, Twitter, and all of that. So if you want to go follow them, look up, you know, Beast of the Mesazoic or Creative Beast Studio, and there you go. So, yeah, if you should get this figure or not, definitely. Again, not for kids. This is more of like the adult collector, but overall, this figure is great, and I absolutely love it. So, definitely get this figure if you can, and if you want to know how big it is, here it is next to some hand sanitizer and Dr. Billy Grant. And of course, they're not supposed to be in scale, you know, because like the Raptor is huge here, but, you know, they're not supposed to be in scale, so I understand that. And before I end this video, I just want to say that this might be my last review for a while. I mentioned this in my Calavasaurus review, but I'm starting to run out of things to review on this channel because, you know, for doing this for almost 5 years, I kind of come to the point where I don't really have a lot left to review. I'm not quitting YouTube by any means. I want to do YouTube as long as I can. I love doing it. I love, you know, creating content, recording the videos, uploading them, and yeah, you know, I love doing that, so I'm not quitting. I'm going to do YouTube as long as I can. I don't want it to be my job, you know, because YouTube, they're very cruel to their employees, so I don't really want that to be my job, but, you know, YouTube as a hobby, I feel like would be great, and I'd love to do it more. So, if I ever get something new, I will definitely be sure to review it. So, yeah, but as of right now, I don't really have anything left to review, so I might be on hiatus for a little bit, so yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Zack out.